Hello, MASC advisors, and welcome to our 2020 virtual summer workshop. This has been a crazy year, but hopefully people are getting towards the summer and maybe returning to some sense of normalcy. So I am here today to talk to you about planning a dance and a lock-in. I know it can sound daunting, and probably doesn't even sound like maybe it will be in the future, but hopefully when the school year starts back up, we can start having some of these activities. So the basics of this kind of go back to when my student council decided that they wanted to have a lock-in and a dance. We had had dances in the past. I have a junior high student council, so we had had dances every year for probably the past 5 to 10 years or so, and they decided that a lock-in would be really neat. And so, of course, as students often do, they get very grand ideas but don't think about the planning behind them. So they wanted to have an all-night, into the morning lock-in for multiple hours, and did not think about safety, liability, cost, or any of those things. So our first step was talking to our administration and principal about this, and that goes into my note there that says Objections 101. They obviously had some issues with this regarding safety, liability, the cost of putting on something like this, who would be supervising, and then they also wanted to make sure, as I know a lot of your administrators do, that there was going to be benefit for the largest majority of students possible. They want an event that we're going to have a lot of buy-in for, I guess, and a lot of people attending. And so we wanted to create that as well. I put on there failure is an option. That is something that students need to learn. And so their first response to this grand idea was failure. They were very upset, angered, shut down after they were told pretty much that they could not have an event the way they wanted it. And so they needed to learn from that and learn from the mistakes they had made, and that they had not done planning. I'll have to say that this is really hard for me, and this is something I've learned over the years, that letting your student council make mistakes is crucial. It is so hard as an advisor, at least I speak for myself, to watch when you see things blowing up, but you really have to just step back and let them learn from their mistakes. And let them realize that it's also okay to compromise. Just because their initial plan did not work, they were able to create something else and work with the principal and the administrators to compromise and come up with a new plan. And so that was our rebirth of the plan. So what did our plan look like? We decided to have a combination dance and lock-in and make it kind of a mini dance and lock-in. And I think it's really crucial for them to have a plan. And so I had a couple of students step up and mention the project planning form that they had worked on during summer workshop. I think this is an incredibly important form, and it can lead students through the process. It is in their workbook, and it's also in the advisor workbook on page 77. And I think this is just a good thing to have multiple copies of. Anytime students brainstorm and get their plans together, they need to fill out this form. Pretty much leads them through all the steps, starting with creating a SMART goal. I know that that's probably a term that you've heard that maybe you don't want to hear anymore, but they are very valuable if done right. And it takes them through each step of that so that they can have a concrete goal for what do they want to establish and what do they want to do. It also takes them through getting approval. One thing that I stress with my council is being professional. Don't just go to the principal as they're walking down the hallway and say, oh, hey, can we do this? Schedule a time. I actually made my executive board, which consisted of my president, vice president, secretary, and treasurer, draft an email, send it to the principal, schedule a time, and then go in and speak to him. And I also made them have the project planning form completed. So when they went in to talk to him, they had every single part of that filled out and could answer all of his questions, all of his possible objections. So then it came down to logistics in our task list, which included cost, location, and times. To be honest, we do not have a lot of money. We're a very small student council. We're a very small school. And so we don't have a budget for any activities. Everything that we plan has to be covered by donations, by fundraising that we have done prior to the event, and using resources that we have on hand. We are very fortunate to have resources in our community. I've had parents offer to create decorations in the past. We've used the leftover hand-me-down decorations from prom from our high school. And so typically our budget is under $100, if not even under $50. We literally use everything that we have. We have the event at our school, and we utilize all of the areas that we can. And so that means that we need to ask permission from our AD to use the gym, ask our lunch staff if we can use the cafeteria. We don't ever use the kitchen when we do that, just so we don't have to clean up. And then we also utilize teacher classrooms, again, asking permission to do this. We ended up with our compromise making our dance run from 6 to 8 p.m. and then our lock-in immediately following from 8 to 10. This worked for everyone. Parents were very happy with this because their students were not out all night long. The principal and administration were also happy with this, considering we did it for junior high students, and this allowed them to still have the fun of a lock-in at school and it not be all hours of the night. For those people that were helping us and volunteering, it also helped with that. We had people do shifts, and so they did not have to be there the whole evening. It wasn't taking away, all of their time. Student council members typically stay to clean up after the dance for approximately an hour, and so that still gets them out of the school by 11 p.m. And that was all the time. We took down all the decorations, vacuumed, cleaned up everything that we needed to in that hour's time because we had everybody stay and help. The next thing I have on here is resources, and as I mentioned before, I have had the student council send out emails asking for help. When we had our black light dance, we sent out an email asking if anyone had black lights who could help with that, so we would not have to purchase them. We have asked different people in the community to help out with things, and so that's a big thing when you're looking at the dance and lock-in. You're looking to save money. Publicity is also on here. I think it's really important to get the word out about your event and what you're having using social media. That's something that's kind of new to me that my Stuco members are helping me with. Also, take pictures at your events and have them in your local paper. What better way to let the community see these, amazing things that you're doing and get backing from them. Last but not least, don't forget to do thank yous at the end. I think that's really important and community appreciates that. I have students do all of this, and that's not what I've always done. It is very hard for me to let go, and I think that is extremely important. That's something I learned from attending summer workshop for the past 5 years, and it's really, really hard to step back and watch them make mistakes, but it is so important, and you will have a better counsel for it. So the meat and potatoes, some theme ideas. Again, I allow the students to brainstorm ideas. I typically do this as an entire council, and they come up with ideas, and then we vote to narrow it down. Um, Again, really important that you have them do it. It gives them ownership and buy-in. And of course, you're always going to have the one that their ideas didn't get selected, but typically, they come around and they'll help with things as well. Lock-in and dance completely revolves around the theme. So the decorations that we do go with the theme, the food, the music, everything. For example, when we did the Footloose theme, we brought in hay bales, we had, rope and gingham and different things for that night. And we did carnival games to go along with that. Our music was very country themed when we did that. And so everything that we have done revolves around the theme. And I'll let you read some of those ideas there. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me via email, and I'd be happy to give you more information on any of these that we've done before. So as I mentioned, our music kind of revolves around the themes. Again, this is a huge cost saver. If you all are hiring DJs, I have to tell you the truth, in all of my years, and I'm going into my 15th year teaching, and at least 10 years being a student council advisor, I have never hired a DJ. I have always done it myself or had a parent or a prior student do it. DJs are way too expensive. Being in a rural area, it is so difficult to get them to come. I've had other schools that have gotten into binds of not having DJs or something happening. So I would just say, don't do it unless you have to and you have money to spare. There are tons of options out there with technology today. Spotify, iTunes, you can even specifically have them do clean versions of the music. I always check the music prior to it. I've even sat down for hours and listened to the songs. So that's just something that, protects me. Have a teacher or administrator be your DJ. There are so many options. You just bring your laptop, hook up, your phone, or get onto someone's Spotify account. This is really fun, and the kids get a kick out of you being the DJ. Have a graduate. I've had lots of graduates that are very talented. In fact, some of them even do DJing on the side. They've done it for free for me. It's been fun all around. Parents are also a good choice, and they're going to play music that they approve of, and that's also a plus. A really good resource that I found over the years for clean songs and song list is schooldancenetwork.com. They will even send you updates, and you can get on their email list. Also, just a note, from going to multiple summer workshops, I noticed every year that the dance at Fulton always had fast songs. They didn't play any slow songs. And so this is something that the last several years I have done. As I mentioned, I do junior high student council. I really don't want to patrol slow dances. I don't like it. It causes drama between the girls and the boys. And so I've just done fast songs. So just a word of advice. Next thing, food snack ideas. I try to tie them to the theme. So if you're doing like a county fair, carnival, popcorn, cotton candy, corn dogs, lemonade. I've started doing this just with the lock-in and not having food at the dance. I'll do water at the dance, but that way you're not dragging food back and forth. Have a set location for this so that it does not create a mess all over the place. And make sure you talk to your custodians because they don't want to be cleaning up all of this. I will make note that popcorn can kind of be a mess, FYI. To keep costs down, I've assigned students to bring an item. So, if you are a girl and you're in 7th grade, you're in charge of drinks. Boys in 7th grade bring chips, cookies, etc. Also had local businesses want to donate. That is a good option. Some lock-in how-tos and ideas. So for the lock-in portion, due to security and cost and just boredom at having kids there for multiple hours, we have limited our lock-in to 2 hours, and it immediately follows our dance. We do allow people to just attend the lock-in. So if you have those kiddos that are just not into dancing, don't want to do that, you can still get people to come to a lock-in. And we've had separate rooms, and I have specifically sent out a flyer asking kids that did not come to events, what do you want? What would get you here? And the biggest response I got were the gaming rooms. They wanted to game. We had a bunch of gamers, and they're like, we just want to sit around and have a Fortnite tournament. I had over 20 boys come and play in the gaming room the entire 2 hours, and they had a blast. Those kids would not have been in an activity in the past. So I really highly encourage thinking about what activities you can have. Have movie rooms set up. Activity rooms do karaoke, a gaming room, crafts for those people that are artsy, board games. A lot of kids like the old board games and they miss playing that. We did minute to win it games in the gym. Glow in the dark, capture the flag, or frisbee out on the football field. For that, I would encourage everyone being down there or making sure that you have several coaches that would be monitoring that. Hide and seek in different areas, and then scavenger hunts. We've done that as a cleanup activity, and so you've had to find different activities to clean up or do an activity to get checked off to win an award or a prize. For us, we've had each room or activity supervised by a teacher, administrator, or an adult. Could be a parent. And this can be done either voluntarily, send out an email who would like to help. You scratch our backs, we'll scratch yours, kind of sharing responsibility. Or I've also thought it could be an extra duty assignment for staff. So just like you would have to do gate duty, this is another thing, that you would be assigned to do. I would prefer it to be voluntary just because I think that teachers would have more fun doing that, but that is an idea. Last but not least, make sure you evaluate. There's a project evaluation form also in your advisor book. Make the students do this. Have a full council discussion. What went well? What needs to be improved on? What I have noticed in the past is students are really quick to come up with all the things that went wrong. Don't let them stop here. Make them come up with solutions. Okay, so it was not a good idea to have a popcorn machine and have popcorn ground into the carpet. What are some ways, we can work around that in the future? People really did not like it when we played country songs. Okay, what songs do they want us to play? How can we work around this? I just put a real note down at the bottom that I believe that evaluation is even more important than the event. I didn't do this for years personally because I didn't want to hear. I was exhausted from the event, and to be really honest, I didn't want to hear everything that they, told me went wrong. However, since starting this, I have seen incredible growth and just been really blown away by the suggestions that they've had and how they have made the events better. It's really an opportunity to see your kiddos rise to the occasion, and they will if you give them the opportunity. So with that said, my best advice is to be like Nike and just do it. I know it can be really scary and it's a challenge to kind of stand back and let your students do it, but it is so worth it, and it's so awesome to see the amazing things they can accomplish. If you have any questions or you need any help at all, guys, please feel free to reach out to me via email. I also have Facebook and Instagram and trying to do all the social medias. So reach out to me and I would be happy to answer your questions. I hope you have a great summer and you're able to get out and enjoy and get back to some sense of normalcy, and have an awesome next school year, you guys.